Hey, thank you so much for joining us on a brand new episode of 420 grams. And as you can see, the smart wordplay by our दाढ़ी वाला भाई जिन्होंने दिमाग लगा के और देखो भाई क्या यहाँ कैप्शन है a new Lobera begins because it is the right way to say it. Sergio Lobera, after being associated with the league for the last couple of years, first FC Goa और इस साल नया प्रोजेक्ट था मुंबई सिटी एफसी सिटी फुटबॉल ग्रुप अंदर आया और ना कि वो सिर्फ लीग टाइटल लेके गए लेकिन आईएसएल का भी खिताब अपने नाम करा जब उन्होंने फाइनल में जो कि कल रात को खेला गया उस फाइनल में उन्होंने 2-1 से एटीके मोहन बगान को हराया द विनर बीइंग स्कोर्ड बाय बिपिन सिंह हु फॉर मी I was so impressed by this boy. And it's not just his contribution in that goal in the 90th minute. You probably wouldn't have seen his contribution on television because off camera, you could hear the commentators consistently saying the number of runs and the kind of runs Bipin is making into the box. He was always trouble for ATK Mohun Bagan's defense. Today, Hamara Tridev is back to talk about the final, to talk about what transpired in the final. It was a good game to watch. There were parts of the game when we said, yaar, ye kya ho raha hai? By the end of it, I was at least going ki, yaar, extra time pe mat chale jana. Please, हमसे और नहीं देखा पाएगा लेकिन first 20-30 minutes of this game was really action packed and it was good to see ATK Mohun Bagan putting Mumbai City FC on the back foot. We're joined as always by Jaydeep Basu and Sidddhanth Aney. Gentlemen, good to see you. ISL season has come to an end. आप में से किसी ने यहाँ पे आंसू बहाए कि Indian domestic season खत्म हो गया but even before we go on and say congratulate Mumbai City
कैसे खत्म हुआ भाई अभी तो आई लीग चालू है और वुमेन्स लीग आने वाला है
hey भाई sorry I walked into that one I walked into it but मैं 4 महीने का season in a COVID environment, pandemic environment, you'd have to say congratulations firstly to the people who have organized this tournament, that they've done it without any serious care with regards to what's happening in the pandemic, Jaydeep sir. Because whoever I've spoken to, broadcast ho gaye, organizers ho gaye, teams ho gaye, everyone has said the same thing that stringent methods and stringent practices were being adopted. And that was the reason that for 4.5 months, you've pulled off a tournament of this scale in India.
Yeah, definitely. They have done a very fine job. There is no doubt about it. Starting from November and coming up to March, without, as you said, without any serious problem. They did it very well. At the same time, we should also congratulate the ongoing I League also. As we know, the I Leagues perhaps the resources are they have in their possession is a bit less than the ISL. But even in I League, barring a few small hiccups, they also have been doing a very good job. And now it has come to the business end of the league. We hope that it will also end up without any problem at the end of this day. I think at the end of this month, the league will be over. So I hope that also, it will be a smooth domestic season for Indian football. But as you said, that now it has come to end and now we will go to the international season. Here I don't know how many hiccups are waiting for India there. That I am not very sure about.
But I just wanted to start the show by giving credit to the people we are generally lambasting on this show, right? So give credit to where credit is due, whether it's the federation, whether it's the people who are the commercial partners. They've come together and they pulled off a tournament. Unlike any other sport, they're the first people to do it in trying times. They're the first people to say, we will create these bubbles. We will go on and so forth. Annie. And they've done it. And, it's by seeing an ISL do that, I'm probably guessing is what a cricket is saying. If an ISL is doing it, then maybe these are the methods we can adopt for an IPL, which is coming up. It's I-League. Maybe, yeah, sir is right. Ki I-League ke, at their disposal is possibly half of what the ISL has in terms of organizing power and so on. But they're doing it. They found a route. And you have to give credit to the first mover advantage. That was the ISL. They were the first guys to do it.
The bubble, you mean?
Yeah, the bubble, and just saying that we'll hold the tournament, because you could have very well said, look, this pandemic is not going anywhere.
So it
Let's
started
let's
with
cancel
second
it.
division I League. It started with second division I League.
Second Division I League.
But
Of course, it was
that was still a 1.5-2 week kind of tournament, sir.
yeah. That was a small tournament. That was a
Yeah,
small.
so that was like, I guess, the test event, because you
Yeah.
have to have the, I suppose, the lower league before you can have the higher league, because that's how the progression of teams happens. And obviously, yesterday there was also a link between that second division I League and the ISL final in terms of Amir Anawde, who played throughout that tournament, and then unfortunately had that injury. By the way, do we have an update on how he's doing?
Yeah, so Mumbai City has put out an update. They've taken a photograph of Amey. He's stable. He is in the hospital, but he's still under observation, because as concussion injuries go, you have to be under observation for the next 48 hours, right? So
Yeah.
you might be stable now, but something could occur. So yeah, much love to Amey, much love to the medical staff, right? The importance of the medical staff. I don't know if you remember, Jaydeep sir, चेन्नई में एक लोकल लीग मुकाबला हो रहा था बहुत टाइम पहले, जहाँ पे a boy unfortunately succumbed to an injury because there was no proper medical staff present at the thing. And it was post that, right? It was post that it was decided that you have to have an ambulance ready at the game at any time, irrespective of what level of the game you're playing. You have to have medical support at the time. And you saw the same last night. It was scary, and it was good news. In the sense, it was good work by the broadcasters. They were purposely not showing the pictures. They were purposely not showing the pictures.
No,
So they were only
that is against FIFA FIFA protocol. You cannot
yeah.
concussion thing you cannot show.
Yeah.
That's the FIFA protocol only. And I think the two biggest incident, Arjun, if you remember, very unfortunate incidents happened. One is in 89 or 90 when Sanjeev Datta, playing for Bengal in the Santosh Trophy in Kerala, he died on the spot. He was taken to the hospital and he did not recover. And second incident happened in 2005.
Cristiano.
2004, Cristiano
Yeah.
Ronaldo, Cristiano in that junior boy in that was November 5, because I was personally present there, so I remember it. I think it was
Dempo versus Mohun Bagan.
Mohun Bagan at the Kanti Rava Stadium. It was 78th minute. He fell down on the ground and he never recovered. So keeping in mind those two incidents, even we all of us were like you and anybody else, we were very worried about it.
True, absolutely. Whether you're in Mumbai, whether you're in Delhi, whether you're watching on television,
it really doesn't matter where you are. And
yeah.
Amey is another it is unfortunate for him. Amey, we had special. We had a special year for him. We were looking at him specially because he is a player who has come from second division straight away to the ISL.
Yeah.
See, he was playing for Bangalore United, and then from second division he has been taken away straight into Mumbai, and Lobera has given him a break in the first 11. So yeah. He's a big success story of Indian football. So we hope that he recovers very soon and returns to the pitch as fast as possible.
I'm just saying, at a time like this, when everyone is talking about Amey, I feel like you have to give credit to the medical staff, because there is so much pressure at the time when that boy is there. You saw moments when the boy wanted to enter the field again, right? And
that happens in concussion. that happens in concussion. People lose things and they try to stand up. So generally what happens, the medical staff don't allow them to stand up. But when they insist, they allow him to stand up. Once he tries to stand up, he collapses again. Then the medical staff take care of him. It happens like that only. I think he wanted to stand up himself.
He did. We could see that. They picked out one picture at that time, thinking at least that he's recovered. So the picture came, but you saw that he hadn't recovered. And it was good work by the medical staff who said, no, you are not getting back on the field. You need to get back in the ambulance because you need to be straight away put under observation. Because then, sir, at that time, nothing is more important. An ISL final, an ISL team, nothing is more important.
Even if it is World Cup final, how does it matter?
Nothing is more important. So I must just say that you must give due credit to the medical staff. Look, see, Aney bhai, my point is this. Throughout this tournament, a medical staff at max would have been treating a pull, an ankle injury, a scratch or a head injury, nothing serious, as opposed to what you saw last night. The culmination of the tournament, 4.5 months. So it's like we keep saying about defenders, right? आप डिफेंडर, when is he caught out by surprise? 90 मिनट के गेम में कोई अटैक नहीं कर रहा, सडनली 88 मिनट में स्ट्राइकर ने रन मार दिया, वो भी घुल गया, ये क्या हो गया, वो गोल मार के चले गया. It was that kind of a moment for the medical staff at the end of the season, and suddenly this happened. I thought they did a very good job. They took their time, and that's it. Move ahead. I'm just
So the role of the officials in this case and the match commissioner and all of that is also very important because as is the case in any team, and we've seen like concussion or CTE, what they call traumatic encephalopathy, which leads to concussion.
पढ़ाई
So
करके
a
आए हो
lot of
भाई,
this
क्या
happening
बात
in
है.
the NFL, the National Football League in America, American football. And after years and years of research of जो यहाँ पे हम public interest litigation कहते हैं, वहाँ पे वो class action lawsuit कहते हैं. So after several years of fighting, all these athletes who have gone through this head trauma, injury trauma, finally they were paid out more than $700 million to these 18,000 athletes who've been impacted by head injuries in football. In American football, and as a result of some of these studies and some of the efforts being made in the United Kingdom and Europe and all of that, you will find that in countries like the UK, in the US, for under 14, under 13, under 14 players, heading is completely banned in terms of training.
Yeah.
So and then even for the later stage, 14 to 16, I guess, it's limited to 30 hours because studies have shown that repeated heading of the ball leads to impact on the brain, and whether you're young or old or whatever, these things, the trouble with these kind of injuries is that you might get up and you might be fine immediately, but the long-term damage or the impact on the nervous system, on the brain, is massive, and it's a subject that football needs to, I think, engage with far more deeply. Like you're saying, credit to everyone, and it's great to see that at least at the Premier League or the top division levels, and perhaps even a couple of levels down, there are protocols in place that make sure that, because if it's a key player, someone, okay, maybe I'm not just using yesterday's case as an example. Maybe a young player like Amir Anaude can be replaced, right? But if you have, let's say, someone like a Roy Krishna in that situation who picks up a head injury, the coaching staff, the medical staff, automatically their mindset is, let's try and get the guy back on the pitch. Because end of the day, two things. One is that football has become all about winning. And the second is that it's a hyper macho, hyper masculine environment in which players are given more credit. When you look at iconic images, you remember things like players bleeding and bandaged while being on the pitch. The terminology that we use is very similar to the terminology that we use.
But last night was not that, bhai. Whether it was Amay or anyone, you could kind of make out that irrespective of who the player might have been, it was a decision that was taken. We don't care whether it's the final of the World Cup or the ISL. Boss, get into that ambulance. You're going under observation. So that is why I'm giving them credit. That they didn't even try. They didn't even think of it. Boom, in.
100%, yeah. And it's great to see that like players and coaching staff and medical staff, everyone is kind of now much more aware of these things and much more aware of the long-term impact it can have. And you're absolutely right what both of you guys were saying. It doesn't matter whether it's an ISL final or a World Cup final. I mean, there are some things that are, far more important than a game of football. So hopefully he does recover, and there's nothing major in terms of impact. But these things do kind of add up. Also, the other thing that medically they say is that maybe up to 5 concussions is fine, but 6 and beyond, you're under serious then threat of long-term problems, like early onset dementia. All of this stuff. In fact, so I was reading another book by a guy who I talk about quite often, Michael Calvin. He's a UK-based journalist who has written extensively on modern football. I think this one is called, I've forgotten the name, but you guys chat, I'll bring it up sometime later. But it's called Under the Skin of the Modern Game or something like that. It's called. Really interesting book that starts off with a lot of the work that is going on by families of players and others who have been affected by these kind of things. Talking about the kind of widespread impact and also the lack of care in terms of, because these things happen through playing the sport regularly at a high level for several years, right? So whether it's the PFA, which is the Players Association in the UK, or other governing bodies, FIFPro, etc., how much care through these bodies is given to players once they retire, so that they can manage the medical issues that come up over the course of their career. It's interesting for any of you guys to pick up.
Please keep telling us on the community. These boys love sport, they love football, and I'd love to read all these books. Yeah. I'm just saying. So on the chat, the boys are saying that Amey is back at the team hotel. He's clicking pics with the trophy. So that is good news, and much love to the family. I'm just, because at that time, Jaydeep sir, I was sitting with a friend in Bombay watching this. Both of us are guys who love sport, who've been around sport. We've played from school level, whatever. And both of us, our expressions changed. We were just saying, ki ye kya ho raha hai? Shit. We were like this. Exactly what the boys were doing on the field, the teammates and the opponents. So, mere dimag mein ye hai, just imagine Amey's family is watching right now on television. You're not in Goa. You're dependent on what the television is showing you or whatever messaging you're getting. You're helplessly calling up the team now. And it's a tough, harrowing situation to be. And it's a situation you would want no one to be in.
Yeah, certainly. At least there are a lot of things. Now the facilities are more, people are more aware. There are other ambulances available, so many things. I remember when 1989, when Sanjeev Datta died, Raja he was called, I think, more those days. He died in one of the Kerala cities. I forget the name. There was nobody. There was not even an ambulance. He was taken in I think somehow an ambulance was brought. He was taken to a hospital, and it was too late. And his family only came to know next morning that it has happened, because those days communication was not so strong. You can understand, only there was not much television and all this internet or anything. So how did they feel sitting in Howrah district? He is from district Howrah, sitting in district Howrah. How did his parents feel? It's a of course it's a very, when you think about it, you feel that how can you handle such situation, how can you face such a situation? But it do happens. Football is after all football is a body contact game. That's the biggest problem, or that the biggest plus point of football. You can't really see. When Subhashish went up and he also went up, nobody thought that this is going to happen, isn't it? Subhashish of course went for a tough header, that's all. He didn't want to hurt anyone, but it happened. But it's good to know that, from, as you were saying, that he is back and clicking photos with the trophy and all.
Yeah, that's always good to hear. I'm just saying, sorry. So I know we are here to talk about the game, but this is part of the game. It transpired in the game, and it's important that Jaydeep sir is referring to what has happened in the past, because in some ways you've kind of said, okay, we've changed things, and this yesterday what has happened has told you that you're moving in the right track. Not just on the field, but you're moving in the right track in terms of the safety of the players, in terms of how you're looking after them medically. And so that way, it was a big success for Indian football, I would have to say. I'm just saying, Aney bhai, just imagine that incident has happened, your teammate that has happened to you, and you've gone into halftime. As Lobera, now that is where your man management skills, your messaging, how you speak to the players, and usko bhai kitna time mila hoga, usko mushkil se 30 seconds mile honge to regroup and talk to the players and to get them like this, to snap them out of it, right? What a tough situation for even like a Lobera, who's probably been in Spain, who's been a part of Barcelona. It would have been a situation he's never been a part of. And that's where you grow as a person, as a coach, of how you handle that situation.
Yeah, totally, man. And like he said in the post-match interview as well, the most important trophy is every trophy. And these factors, I think, all of the circumstances that lead up to that situation where at the 90th minute, one of your young players, a guy you put tremendous amounts of confidence and faith in throughout the season.
45th minute.
No, I was talking about in the end.
Acha, Bipin, yeah. Okay.
Winning goal, yeah. Kind of like those moments then like vindicate or justify or whatever all of the struggles, everything that you've gone through over the course of maybe not just one season, but perhaps several seasons. And as a like for a head coach, I think to have to deal with something that obviously will, like you were saying, as guys who have played before and who have seen this happen as well, your thoughts immediately were, oh man, what's going on? So obviously the players on the pitch are also thinking the same thing. So to get them to sort of refocus on something that in comparison seems as so trivial, right? Like it's a game of football, that too a half of football. How do you sort of weigh that against potentially someone's life, someone's career, someone's all of those things? And yet you have to remember that is what you are there for, what you're getting paid for. It's your job, etc., etc. So and you owe something to the fans, you owe something to whoever is backing you in terms of your club ownership. So you have to get out there and get the job done. And it can always go either way, right? I think when Aney came off, young Mohammad Rakib, who was again part of that under 17 World Cup setup, he was brought on, and it almost became a game changer in terms of that offside goal that wasn't given in the end. So the way things played out yesterday, Lovera might look back and say, okay, great learning experience, and things worked out all right for us on this occasion. But I think he'll also have the realization or the acceptance that very easily things could have gone completely differently.
True.
So, and that's why I think so many of us are so obsessed with this sport, because in so many ways it's kind of like it reflects what's happening in the world beyond the pitch as well. That you think you are in control, you think you are driving the course of history or how things are going to play out, but you actually realize through these events, these circumstances, that you have very little that you can really control in terms of the outcome of things.
Fair enough. I'm just for all the viewers, because they're saying, why are you guys so serious today? Look, firstly, this is a very serious topic, and I feel it needs to be discussed. And if you've got three people who have watched the game from beyond your Bajegi CT Udega ball, from way before that, then it's only right that we tell you what the scene used to be. Sir, मैं आपको एक और बात बताता हूँ. कल सीधा दिमाग में क्या बात आया, आप वहां पे गेम में थे जब डेम्पो का वो इंसिडेंट हुआ. Armando was the coach, right?
Yeah.
I remember a few years after, or the next year, when Armando was playing an I-League game for them. His team was playing in Kolkata, a Federation Cup game, I think it was. It was versus Churchill. Ogba Kalu था. वहां पे Ranti और Kalu के बीच में clash हुआ. They were taken to the hospital. My job was to interview Armando post the game, and I could see Armando was shaking. I could see it. Which is why, before asking him anything about the sport or the game, I said, sir, please give us an update on Ranti and Kalu. And he sort of mellowed down. He said, thanks, Arjun, because I wouldn't have been able to talk about the game. This is the only thing that's in my mind, having gone through what's happened with Cristiano. And so it stays with you for so long. And I'm guessing it will still stay with him always throughout his life, that he was part of that dressing room, that team talk when that happened.
Yeah, because he has burned his finger once.
Yeah.
So and the man who scored both the goals in the final did not return to the dressing room.
Yeah.
Too. That was harrowing experience for all of us, I would say. So didn't happen like anything like that. Here the boy is back and clicking photos with a trophy.
Yeah,
It really makes you happy to learn
it
about.
does. It does. It does.
Think about Junior. He scored both the goals. Dempo won 2-0. He scored both the goals. Dempo took the trophy home, but the man who scored both the goals did not return to the dressing room. You went there with 11 and you returned with 10. How does it feel?
True.
I can't imagine the situation again. It happened so many years ago, but it still haunts me. It still haunts me.
Yeah.
I saw him falling down on the pitch, and it was 78th minute. I still remember because he scored the goal. He headed in. He fell down on the pitch, and we thought, he will get up. So every journalist in the stadium noted down the timing, and then I looked up, and he was still lying. Then the ambulance came and picked him up and went to the hospital, and the match resumed. But he never returned. Remember, I went to the hospital. I think Mr. Colasso, he was the general secretary of the AFF at that time. He called me from the hospital. He says, "Please come. He is no more." So I went there. And I remember how Ranty Martins was howling. He was crying loudly. What a scene it was! My God. See, you will find in some of the coaches and management of some of the clubs, especially in the junior level, they always complain that the federation wants ambulance to be present at the ground whenever a match is played, and how can we afford? We don't have so much money. We are hand to mouth condition. They don't know how we are running the club, how we are paying the boys. But I always support the federation in this. If you can't put an ambulance, you can't put the medical stuff, then don't play. Please don't play.
True.
Nobody has asked you to play. You shouldn't play. You shut down your club and go home.
Yeah, absolutely. 2500-3000 रुपए जो लगते हैं एम्बुलेंस खड़ा करने के लिए 1-1.5 घंटे के लिए जो ट्रेनिंग सेशन या मैच होता है. I mean, if you and it's like insurance, right? As long as things are fine, it's all fine. You feel like, oh, why am I wasting this money on insurance? But it's only when things like this happen that you realize how vital it is. And I mean, of course, in this case, I'm sure the costs of the medical facilities are borne by the organizers.
Yeah.
But that's not the. I mean, in the I League, for example, even now when they are in their bubble in Calcutta, even for training sessions, it's a requirement that an ambulance be present so that if anything happens to a player, there's immediate because that immediate time when an injury takes place, that's the critical.
It's crucial.
If medical attention is given, then, and given how the advances in medical sciences, you can save lives, literally. So putting a value to that is absolutely impossible, and 100% in agreement with Jaydeep when he says that, like, clubs that complain about, not being able to do this, I mean, you can always find a way to do it, and there's literally no way to say that is something that should be done away with.
Absolutely. I'm going to move on now to the game, but to all the people watching, look, this was possibly the most important topic that's come out of the game. I'm sorry, you might be a Mumbai supporter, you might be a ATK supporter, but yesterday was a success story for Indian football, that you have looked after a kid who's fallen down, who's had such a serious injury, and now the kid is fine, hale and hearty, he's back with his team. That is a success story of Indian football. So one must celebrate that, one must talk about it, and one must not forget what has happened in the past. You must not forget what's happened in the past, because what's happened in the past then sort of tells you to make sure the future is better, and you don't repeat those mistakes of the past. So, okay. So much love to Amer Ranavde, much love to the medical staff that helped him. And we hope he has a very hale and hearty career going forward. Let's talk about the game. Mumbai City FC winning 2-1. Jaydeep sir, पहले यहाँ पे थोड़े अब हाँ जी माहौल बन गया फुटबॉल वाला. पहले थोड़े हम नंबर बनाएंगे अपने, क्योंकि मुकाबले से पहले जो पिटारा डंडा लेके आया था मैं वहां पे.
हाँ, आपका टेबल भाई, मुझे लगा
सर हम
लेके आएंगे आप.
हम पैसे कमाने आए हैं मुंबई, तो हम होटल रूम में बैठे हैं
अच्छा.
तो उस पिटारे पे मैंने बोला था कि ATK खेलेगा 4-4-2 और सर 4-4-2 ही खेले वो
एकदम.
and it was the right move and it was so good to see the first 15-20 minutes वो चढ़े उन पे and fully deserved that opening goal.
Yeah, certainly. ATK, of course, but in the end, Mumbai had the last laugh, definitely. And Bipin Singh scored a beautiful winner, fantastic winner. It's great for his confidence, for his career, because a day later he's going to traveling to Dubai, I believe, for the national camp. But before going, he should also send a big thank you cake to ATK Mohun Bagan goalkeeper Arindam Bhattacharya for giving a real boost to his career. That he should do. I hope he doesn't forget that. Now you take over.
I'm just saying, see, that picture tells you everything, right? In the morning, I was seeing Instagram and Arindam won the Golden Glove. The picture of him winning the Golden Glove trophy tells you exactly what his mood was. He was like this, कि मैं क्यों खड़ा हूँ यहाँ पे with the Golden Glove? Because both the goals they've conceded, he has had a part to play in it. In the first one, it was miscommunication with Terry. Not saying it was not Terry's fault. A lot of it was Terry's fault. But if Terry is doing that, then where is the conversation between the two of you? It was missing.
Think he didn't give a call. I think he didn't.
Yeah, the commentator said it. We were pitch side. We can hear everything. And there was no call from the goalkeeper.
He shouldn't have charged out of his line. If he leaves his line, he should give a call. Even second time also, he had no business. And if he had come out, he has to take the ball.
Yeah.
All former goalkeepers, great goalkeepers I have spoken to, everybody has told me. Even Bhaskar Ganguly once told me that if you are come out, you have to take the ball. If you then there is no excuse. That I tried, but it happened like that also. I think it's a big dent to the goalkeeper's career, to Arindam Bhattacharya's career.
I think confidence.
Both were bad mistakes.
Yeah, both were bad mistakes.
Really bad mistakes.
Yeah.
He can't pardon himself, I think.
He wouldn't. I'm guessing he's a very competitive boy. He's been around Indian football for a long time, and you only stay around the top level of a sport if you have a competitive nature. You have a ruthless nature in you that have to continuously perform. I'm just going to go phase by phase.
एक हमारे व्यूअर हैं शुभजीत कर्माकर, उनका क्वेश्चन, उनका कमेंट आया. Please take this question. How do you justify Arindam not being in the?
Well, if Mr. Steamach had to give a justification last night's game,
there you go.
He would say, look at those two mistakes. Because you know what? Yesterday I was talking to Gurpreet as well.
That means he selected the team in hindsight, you mean to say?
वो तो बोल देगा ना वो सर, वो तो आपको तो मिल जाता है. But I was talking to Gurpreet and I was saying that on Instagram, and then would you believe it? 2 hours before the match was starting, Arindam joined the Instagram live and was messing around with Gurpreet. And वो पंजाबी में एक दूसरे से बात कर रहे थे. तो मैंने वहीं पे मौका सोचा कि मैंने पूछा कि what is the relationship like? Huh?
Amrinder, you mean?
Amrinder, yeah. What is the relationship like between the two of you, knowing that one of you is vying for that number 1 spot? He said, we don't feel like that. ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. But the goalkeeping spot is the most competitive spot in the national team. There is no doubt about it. You have 3 to 4 players who could put their hand up and be counted on any given day. So if Arindam has not been called into the camp, it just tells you that you have some really good, how do I put it? You have some good reserves and you have a good pool of players in that position for goalkeeping, Aney.
Yeah, first of all, I mean, I don't know what Mr. Steamach is thinking, but since watching that interview recently that was conducted by, I think, Football United with Mr. Steamach from Croatia, I think his opinions and ours as far as the game of football are concerned are fairly similar. So it was great to hear some of that. So in keeping with that sort of similarity in terms of thought, I think the number 1 spot, for what it's worth, is Gurpreet's. Overall, as whether it's distribution, whether it's being able to play reasonably with the ball at his feet, whether it's in terms of international experience that he has, the level at which he's played, having played some Europa Cup games, etc., which no other Indian footballer, irrespective of position, whether in goal or in outfield, has done. So the number one spot, and he's young, he still has age on his side. He's only improving. So Gurpreet, I think, is the prime contender or is the incumbent of that number one jersey.
Yeah.
And then you have phenomenal talent coming through the system in that position, and older guys. Paul is still in contention and still fighting for a comeback into the national team. So Subhashish Chaudhary is in there. This year we've seen, Devjit Majumdar have a really good string of games for East Bengal.
Yeah, you have Vishal, you have Dheeraj. There are a lot of them. Aney का थोड़ा internet वहाँ पे freeze हो गया, sir. But he makes a good point. And okay, so goalkeeping is there. But I'm getting back to the game, sir, because first 20 minutes was all ATK Mohun Bagan. First 20-25 minutes goal मारा उन्होंने. पर उसके बाद थोड़ा surprisingly जो उन्होंने pedal पे अपना वो गैस मारा हुआ था, गाड़ी उन्होंने लगाई भी थी full steam पे, पीछे हट गए. एंड जितना जो उनको स्पेस पहले 20-25 मिनट में नहीं मिल रहा था मुंबई को, गोल खाने के बाद सडनली दे स्टार्ट गेटिंग स्पेस. और एक बार ये आपने वो टीम को स्पेस दे दिया जो बॉल पसंद करती है अपने पैर पे, फिर उन्होंने कहीं ना कहीं गेम चलाना शुरू किया.
हाँ, I think also at the same time the equalizer really dented not only the goalkeeper's confidence but dented the confidence of the entire Bagan team, because it was they considered the goal in the most unexpected manner. It was never there. Nothing was there. Bipin would have. I don't think he would have been able to control the ball. But the way they considered the goal, it not only dented the goalkeeper's confidence, but the entire team's confidence, because they had a plan in mind that we'll strike first. We must pick up a goal as early as possible, which they succeeded very well. And then came the equalizer, which actually upset their plans. I think from there it started. And I don't know why they lost control of the midfield so badly in the second half. Basically.
Yeah, they lost completely.
And now I understand. Now I wondered that why what made ATK Mohun Bagan to bring Lenny from FC Goa. But I can understand why Lenny did not get enough chance at FC Goa. See, I have nothing against the boy. Boy is good, must be good. There is no doubt. But this season he is not. I didn't see. Sometimes I feel that this ATK Mohun Bagan is a team which has already done their best.
Oh, so you're saying that cycle is over? They need to refresh.
It seems to me. Looking
That's
at
only the second year, sir.
No.
This
but
team.
Looking at the team, sometimes I feel that the boys like Tiri, or for that matter, Roy Krishna or David William, they have, and Pritam Kotal also, they have already done their best. I am not going into the next step. I am not saying that they can't do anything better. That I am not saying. But I think they have already done their best. So yesterday, it was a defeat, not only a defeat in the final, or for the matter that the goalkeeper was not at his best. He didn't do too well. He made two crucial mistakes, which really cost them badly. But the thing is that also it proved that ATK Mohun Bagan has lost to Mumbai for the third time in the season. Not even once they could break ATK Mumbai defense. So much was said about Mumbai defense that they conceded 15 goals in the last 8 matches or so. There were some statistics I was reading. But the thing is that in three outings, they have broken Mohun Bagan defense 5 times. And Mohun Bagan could do it only once. ATK Mohun Bagan could do it only once.
Yeah.
So, despite everything, despite ATK Mohun Bagan can always come back and say that because of defensive mistakes, we considered the goal. We were at par with them. But at the end of the day, I think Mumbai were thoroughly deserving winners. There was no second saying about it.
I'm just saying that, so now refresh, and you've already started preparing for next season. I would think that this ATK Mohun Bagan team, I get what you're saying, because Terry has not been able to resurrect that downward slump that he picked up towards the league phase ke beach, ya uske towards the third, fourth stage of the league phase, and he hasn't been able to come back from there. Agreed on the same thing with Preetham. Preetham has been very कभी अच्छा एक दिन 3 दिन दिखा नहीं, फिर एक दिन अच्छा. In fact, Shubhashish जिसको टीम में बुलाया नहीं गया है, Shubhashish has looked good.
Yeah,
मैं
he
तो
played very well yesterday.
मैं दिखाना नहीं चाहता, यहाँ पे टैटू किया हुआ है मैंने शुभशीष अपने चेस्ट पे, right next to my I love ISL tattoo. So yeah, Shubhashish has been really good. But Aney bhai, I don't think this team, at least from my eyes, so sir and I probably disagree on this. I don't think the team needs to make too many changes. I would still put faith in Terry saying that, okay, you've done the slump, but I expect him to again be back ready for next season to be the Terry that he is. Roy Krishna and Williams, I would not touch. Carl McHugh, I would not touch. I think he's really good. So if I had to make a few additions, it would be 1 or 2, keeping in mind that one foreigner will be going down from next season. So I'm guessing that's why Lenny was brought as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Who would you go after someone? Would you go after someone you've seen in the league that this team requires? There's talks of Angulo. There's talks of Sri Cement East Bengal. There's Deepak Tangdi ki baat ho rahi hai in ATK Mohun Bagan. But again, if Deepak Tangdi comes into ATK Mohun Bagan, he'll be a squad player. He's not going to be a playing 11 player. He's going to be shifting between Lenny and whatever. So
no, I mean, I think what maybe Jaydeep was saying was that there is a need to infuse some new blood, because you're I mean, so in terms of having like maybe a shift in generations or whatever you want to call it, having been there, done that, and now the need to reinvent. So for me, the battle or the matchup between Bipin Singh and Preetham Kotal,
it took him out,
was a good reflection of what he's saying. In that he completely took him out. I mean, there were times when Preetham Kotal had no answer to Bipin Singh in any sort of department, which is both a good thing and a bad thing for the national team. But we can get into that later. But you see these young players who have the confidence to play with the ball at their feet and the mobility to move around and leave a player kind of, if you are ball watching, you are left flat-footed. You don't know where the player you're supposed to be marking is gone. There were a couple of occasions when the ball came in. I think Adam Lefondre in the first half played a cross from the right. And Bipin made a run. He staggered his run a little bit. Perhaps he didn't need to do that because he was well onside. But both Tiri and Kotal had no idea where he was. In the end, the cross was a little bit too close to the goalkeeper, so Bipin couldn't get onto it. But those kind of opportunities are coming, I think, far too often for a side like Mohun Bagan that's, I think, built on a foundation of defensive organization and solidity. And then you're, making goalkeeping errors, you're conceding an own goal, and you're allowing players to give you the runaround, which is not how a well-organized defensive unit is meant to play. So in that sense, maybe a reinvention or a rejigging of the ideas or the tactics or the way this team needs to be set up should be looked at. Yeah.
So, I feel if you look at Mumbai,
like
even
Jeff
though
often says, especially because second place means nothing to these clubs. They are in it for the trophy, and that's about it.
No, I'm saying, sir, from a Mumbai perspective, even though they've won, I feel wahan pe there is a lot of scope to change. Like I feel you would say, can we get someone better than Adam Lefondre? Okay. Can we get someone better than Bartok Beche? Can we get someone better than Hernan? So there are 3-4 players who are the core of your team this season, can we get someone better than Sai Goddard? And I'm not talking about the Indian players, because the Indian players seem like they're in a good age group. Amrinder ki unko ab, they would need to find someone to replace Amrinder's shoes, because he's gone to ATK Mohun Bagan. So I feel Mumbai में जो आपने ये टीम देखी है, मे बी नेक्स्ट सीजन आपको एक अलग टीम दिखेगी, कीपिंग इन माइंड अगर आपने जाहू और बूमू को रखा.
I think Mumbai bench strength was very good. You see, a team has won the title yesterday without playing Ogbeche and Lafondre together, isn't it?
But tactically they don't work, sir, because that's why they don't.
That is true, but their bench strength is too good. It was far better than Mohun Bagan's bench strength. If they had taken out Amay, then Rakib came and he did a good job. Except that
Rakib was good.
Except that goal which got negated by the referee.
But that wasn't a goal, na sir? I thought it was correct decision. Correct decision.
Absolutely correct decision. Roy Krishna was offside. There was no doubt about it. And again, I would hear, before I go into your question, I would like to add one thing. It was in complete bad test on the part of ATK Mohun Bagan coach Mr. Habas not to attend the press conference.
Oh, he didn't attend the press conference?
No, he didn't attend the press conference. Virtual press conference. He had already been fined 2 lakhs, and I think he will again be fined for this. But something has to be done. He can't do it every time. He can't do it every time. Just because we have lost a match, that doesn't mean that you can renounce the world. And you can say the refereeing was bad.
So even the way they were pressurizing the ref, the support staff.
In that case, you better go to a where all this are accepted.
Yeah.
This is absolutely not done. Whatever. Coming back to your point, I think if Mumbai FC is changing a team, then it is for the good only, because that's what it should be done. You cannot hold on to it again. Like they are leaving Amrinder. I believe they are leaving Amrinder is going, I believe.
But Amrinder is going.
In time, I think what I mean to say that they are bringing Nawaz. I believe they are bringing Nawaz. That's a right move to bring a youngster, and Nawaz, as you also said in our last conversation, that it was a very good. He proved himself very good for FC Goa, and why they did not play him in the later stages, that's quite a mystery. So if Mumbai is making some changes in the team, it has to be done like that. You can't. Maybe his core group, his core group of players will remain the same, but he will make changes here and there to make it look more compact and better next season.
I didn't know that he's not attended the press conference. He's not attended the press conference, because I was actually thinking while watching the game, and when all these notankis were happening and they're pressurizing the ref, and the ref got it spot on. The linesman got it spot on.
Absolutely.
And the way they're running around in the goalkeeping coach and so on. I, in fact, was picturing...
You're talking about the offside goal?
The offside goal, yeah. So
anyway, you finish, then we'll get...
My only thing is that when they do all of this, right, you have been brought in to India, to win trophies for your club, but I'm sure you've been brought in on the pretext that you're helping develop Indian football, which is Indian players. So does the Indian referee not fall into that? We've had this discussion on a referee chat that if your players are of a certain level, if your football is being played of a certain level, from which angle are you expecting your ref to be of a world-class level? And if you're continuously being doing this, pata nahi kya notankiyan kar rahe the. I was always hoping, I've never gone for these press conferences, that someone should ask him that when the heat of the game is over, do you ever go back and feel that what you're doing on the field is wrong, is detrimental to the growth of referees? I'm just wondering, if you put yourself in Habas's shoes, also you've interacted with him, so you know him, you reckon he's the kind of guy who say कि यार ये तो मैं गलत कर रहा था, ये मेरा staff गलत कर रहा है, I am the leader, I should be telling them ये गलत है, ये नोटंकी सब.
I think the problem lies elsewhere. The problem lies Habas could be like this, but he should be told. I'm not talking about disciplinary committee taking action against them or fining them, but the people who have hired him, they should tell him that this is not done, isn't it? That's the way it should be done. And he should be warned also that next time you do it, there will be trouble.
Yeah, I don't know how to.
I blame ATK Mohun Bagan management. They should tell him that go and attend the meeting. That's part of the deal. That's part of the league regulations.
Yeah.
I blame ATK Mohun Bagan management for this. The coach is their employee. They should tell him that please go and attend the press conference.
I was talking to one head coach and one assistant coach a few weeks ago, and they were saying that they were just talking about how they divide up duties for these pre and post match press conferences. And over there, the head coach's opinion was pretty straight that if we win the match, I'm happy for the assistant coach to go and attend the press conferences and take the questions. But the minute we lose a game, then it is incumbent on me to attend that press conference because I am the head coach, and at the end of the day, that it's my job to not just handle the team, but also to then handle the questions that come. Yeah. And to, as the leader of this dressing room, to shield the rest of my squad from the attacks that, because the press is considered antagonistic from the get-go, to shield them from those questions. So I thought, that made absolute sense, and that is the attitude with which.
Was this a head coach from the I-League or the ISL?
I-League, sir.
Yeah. Whatever. Yes, sir. आप भी अपना I-League का tattoo दिखा दो ना ऐसे. No, but that is rightly said. I agree with you completely.
तो उस attitude के साथ अगर जाएं, and I think yes, disciplinary action or maybe diktats from ownership, management, whatever you want to call it, is one way of going about it. But if a coach is at this head coach level already of a club that is of the stature of ATK Mohun Bagan, then these are not things that you need to tell that person.
Yeah,
I think, or that need to be enforced. मतलब अगर जयदीप और मैं साथ में काम कर रहे हैं, मैं कोई जयदीप के पास जाके उन पे कोई डिसिप्लिनरी एक्शन तो नहीं लूंगा ना. तो ऐसा मतलब unless कुछ बहुत ही ज्यादा लाइक किसी को जाके गोली मार.
नहीं भाई, but point तो ये जयदीप said the right thing कि at the end of the day, हबास साहब आपने 3 या 2 टाइटल जीते होंगे, आप सेविया के होंगे, आप वो होंगे. Presently, you are an employee of ATK Mohun Bagan. The management, you are their employee, you are on their books.
So in that sense, I guess he's reflecting the attitude of ATK Mohun Bagan that they felt like the refereeing was of such a standard that they were robbed of the game. I don't, or that they deserved to. They were the best team in the competition, and therefore
I didn't see any blunders. I didn't see hardly any blunders. I saw.
I do want to talk about these two questions. Firstly, if you guys can tell me what is the offside rule? Rakib touching that ball and it going into the net. Should that have been called offside or not, and why? These are my. And then before that, actually, I don't know which one you want to take in which order, but the penalty shout.
No, but bro, come on.
Where our friend and expert Ishfaq Ahmed.
Yeah, I didn't agree with Ishfaq at that time, and I while watching TV, I went like this. Abey yaar, Ishfaq. I went like that. क्या भाई?
और उनके साथ में जो थे, I think कौन, Phil Brown
थे.
It was very simple. He was in an offside position. He had less than 2 defenders in front of him.
No, sir, but the rule is that you have to be interfering with the game.
He was distracting the goalkeeper. He was a distraction to the goalkeeper. That's all. It's easy. He's distraction to the goalkeeper. The moment he's standing there, an opposition player is standing, goalkeeper has to keep an eye on him. It's a distraction to the goalkeeper. Simple. ये भी तो सोचो आप.
नहीं
whether he touches it or not doesn't matter. He's a distraction to the goalkeeper.
नहीं, because the ball came off a defender. If the ball had not come off a defender, then it's different story.
It came from anyone, but goalkeeper has to keep an eye on that player, isn't it? वो तो है, वो तो सोच लो आप, देख लो. And ATK Mohun Bagan had 90 minutes to score another goal. They were given 90 minutes. Like Mumbai also got 90 minutes. They also got 90 minutes. Did they choose to score the only goal of the match match winner in that time only?
मिलॉर्ड यहाँ पे हम आपके लिए लाए हैं. देखिए जनाब, सर ने बिल्कुल सही बात बोली कि देखिए राकिब, ये कृष्णा यहाँ था, बॉल राकिब को लगी है, गोल में गया है, बात मान ली आपकी. अगर कृष्णा साहब कहीं यहाँ होते, आई एम जस्ट सेइंग, दिस इज अरिंदम्स व्यू, राइट? अगर कृष्णा साहब कहीं यहाँ होते, then maybe you can still argue and say he is not interfering in play, right? Because the ball is somewhere, the player is somewhere. But अगर राकिब साहब यहाँ है, कृष्णा साहब यहाँ है, then you have to say referee, good decision. That is a very good decision. Because if that decision would have got either way, the other way, maybe ATK Mohun Bagan could have walked away with the title. It could have been that important a decision. So the referee got it right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, same with the penalty. I mean, like, if you guys think
the penalty
right, because that would have also had a sorry.
तो भाई उसने हाथ रखा, माना, उसने हाथ रखा, पर जिस तरीके से बिपिन भाई गिरे हैं, हाँ, he's just done this. He's not done this. He's not. There is not a trail of the shirt. Like अक्सर नहीं होता, आप पकड़ते हो and you see that trail. कि पकड़ के जा रहा है और फिर वो छोड़ रहा है तो वो ऐसे गिर रहा है. None of that. It was basically him running past. He went thappa, like this.
Not saying it's a foul, then you are not allowed to do that when a player is running past.
भाई, अरे ऐसे भाग रहा है, ऐसे यार, football contact sport है भाई. Are you saying when you tackle someone, you're going and tackling like this?
No, a contact sport doesn't mean you can push.
He didn't push him. He was like this. They were running. See, whenever you're tackling, and if someone is getting at you, your hands are always up, right? Hand was up, and he just did this. उसको बस ऐसे टच हुआ और वो तो ऐसे गिरा है जैसे पता नहीं क्या हो गया है वहाँ पे.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not commenting on the acting skills or the diving skills or whatever, but like, जैसे अगर हमारे कॉलीग लेस्ली जेवियर होते, वो जूडो के बारे में समझाते कुछ. एक प्लेयर का जो मोमेंटम है, how little is required to if that player is in, you know, वो inertia है, तो उस पे आपको impact करना है तो आपको बहुत कम करना पड़ता है. You don't have to take a मतलब baseball bat and knock someone off in order to make them fall. Very little contact is often enough to make to get that player destabilized, unstable off their feet. And I don't think the amount of contact there is in a particular tackle is sort of makes a difference whether it's a penalty or a free kick or not. A foul is a foul. आप चाहे उनको कोनी मारो या चाहे आप उनको थोड़ा सा हल्का धक्का दो, है ना?
भाई, but then that's my point कि then there's no end to it because football is a contact sport. मैंने ऐसे हाथ रखा, वो अगर ऐसे ही गिर गया तो फिर फाउल है. हर बारी तो वैसे नहीं हो सकता ना. वो ये जो डिसीजन था, this was in football's gray area. ये gray area वाला zone है.
Exactly.
जो अभी आपने.
So it might be a contact sport, but that doesn't mean that. I mean, there is certain kinds of contact that is legal, and there is certain kinds of contact that is illegal. It's not that all kinds of contact is allowed. It's not a full contact sport. It's not MMA at the end of the day, right? So in that is the context in which I was asking the question. So if it's a foul, it's a foul. Then it has to be a penalty.
So you're saying it's a penalty. I'm saying not a penalty. Sir, आप क्या बोल रहे हैं? आपने बताया नहीं अभी तक.
I'm not very sure about it because I have to look at it again. That's why I kept quiet. But I again think such things do happen in football.
Yeah.
Results do change in this manner. But that doesn't mean a coach who was jumping around after scoring a goal and would have said this is the best title in his life will denounce everything once the match is over just because he has lost the match.
True.
Then he all sorts of Vasu insult towards the league. This is an insult toward the league.
Yeah, by not
only
attending the
towards
press conference.
Not only towards the referee, but towards the league also. Towards the competition, it's an insult. Not attending the press conference.
I think whatever you might say, ATK Mohun Bagan has far more fan following than Mumbai City FC would probably claim to.
Then they should be a little more careful also. They should be more careful in that case.
And
Are they sending this message to their fans? That celebrate when you win and blame everyone when you lose, except yourself.
मेरा बैट है, मैं घर जा रहा हूँ.
हाँ वो exactly भाई, ये बड़े आपने you hit the nail on the head.
अच्छा,
मेरा बैट है, मैं जा रहा हूँ घर, खत्म होगी कहानी.
बड़ी मजेदार चीज हुई for me. Bart Ogbeche, who doesn't come from what we regard as generally a cricket playing nation, in the post-match press conference said that Mumbai are the champions of India, and he brought in the IPL. What did you guys make of that little bit of sideline conversation? Because Ogbeche is Nigerian, I think. I don't think too much in the sport of cricket.
No, but Mumbai, bhai, you would know what your city's team is doing.
It's a part of the script, perhaps.
I don't know if it's a part of the script. Because from what I saw, I've seen Ogbeche, from what I've seen him talk, he's an intelligent guy. He can think for himself. He can express himself well. I thought it was I thought it was there on the moment.
Yeah, he said, you remember, he said that at the halftime, we were not thinking about the next 45 minutes. We were only thinking about Amay.
Yeah, exactly. So
he says we are
human beings. Such bola. Ha, that line, we are human beings. That tells you all you need to know about Ogbeche as someone who speaks, when he speaks about the sport, how much he knows about the sport. So I didn't read too much into it. Bhai.
See, 2002 Nigeria versus I think Argentina, he played full 90 minutes. Ogbeche. He's not a small player after all.
Oh no doubt.
He's a fantastic player. I would his second goal against ATK Mohun Bagan in the that league final that which decided the league. You remember the goal, Arjun? What a goal it was!
When we play for Kerala, na sir?
No, this year that league shield that league.
The one when he was outside on the left.
No, he headed the rebounder.
Yes sir.
What a fine goal it was.
No.
Came like a panther when he headed in.
I think the stat on Ogbeche was that he is not a player off the bench. He has done his equal part in Mumbai City, scoring 8 goals, I think. Lafondra, the amount of playing time he scored 11 goals. And you were right, they haven't played together. The time they've played together, they haven't clicked. The team hasn't clicked. So it's one is playing, wo kaam kar raha, the other is playing, wo kaam kar raha hai. So if I had to pick between Lafondra and Ogbeche, I would pick Ogbeche for next season, because I know Ogbeche gives me a role in the playing 11, and Ogbeche gives me a role coming off the bench. As opposed to Lafondra, I don't think Lafondra is that impactful coming off the bench. I feel Lafondra is more impactful when he starts for you in the 11. But just given what's there for City Football Group, what they have on their platter, I don't know. My guess is they're probably going to look for a new striker to lead the line for Mumbai City FC come next season. That is my thing.
Changes are always welcome. There should be changes, and this year's planning should not be carried over to the next year's planning. There must be little changes here and there.
Sure.
So that's fine. That's fine. I think if they drop one of them and retain only one, there's nothing wrong in it. Amrinder has done so well.
Yeah,
I think they must have thought we have got the best out of him. Now look for no ill feeling towards Amrinder, but look for a better for something which will give us another 5 years next.
Also because if you have Nawaz gives them an outlet, then probably Boomu and Rowland don't need to fall back so deep within the stopper backs, because Nawaz is so good at his feet. So he can do that role of coming there, holding the ball and playing the ball out. These guys can go higher up the pitch and can impact the play more higher up the pitch. So probably Nawaz works from that point of view. एनी भाई कुछ सवाल हमारे दोस्त लोगों का जो पेशेंटली भेजे जा रहे हैं.
हाँ यार, मैं इनफैक्ट कहने वाला था कि अगर आपके पास सवाल है तो प्लीज दोबारा भेजिए, बिकॉज हमारे ये इस चैट में इतने सारे आप लोग कमेंट और सवाल कर रहे हैं कि स्क्रॉल करके ढूंढना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है. एक सवाल आया, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट सवाल आया पंडित के लिए. पंडित, वेयर इज योर अदर ईयरबड?
ये रहा है भाई. यो ये रहा भाई, ये रहा. दोनों पहन के आते हैं.
So then couple of other questions we can take. One is from Arjun Nichani. Maybe Jaydeep, you can take this question. Do you think next year Mumbai can retain their title and be the first team to do so and get rid of the jinx?
Oh, this is too early to say something.
Yeah.
Because next season, when it is starting, which is the team, which player is, we know nothing about it. That will be like shooting in the dark.
No, fair enough. But you do know that, like, you do know how they are setting up. You know that they have the resources. And you know that clearly that they are.
They will be. Given their current form, their resources, their planning, their coaching, everything, they will be one of the strong contenders for the title once again.
Champions League Jan 22. Yeah, so you need to be ready.
Absolutely.
And they are going to AFC Cup,
yeah.
So they will build a strong team. So they will remain as one of the strongest contenders. But whether they will win it or not, that's only.
Fair enough. So maybe we can rephrase that and ask Pandit. Pandit, for you also, you think they will be somewhat starting as favorites or up there?
They will, bhai, till the time CFG is part of this team. And I say till the time because इस league में आते हैं और जाते भी हैं. अभी तक तो यही देखा है. So till the time they are part of this team, they will always be favorites. There is no doubt about it. The resources they have at their plate, the resources they have in their table, are unlike what any other team has on this. अभी तो उनके पत्ते खुले नहीं है. अभी तो पत्ते शो ही नहीं हुए उनके. अभी तो मुश्किल से उन्होंने मतलब एक चाल चली है. इतने सारे resources उनके पास. So they will always be there, 100%.
Okay. Next question. Do you think ATK Mohun Bagan should be looking for a new coach?
Oh, Jaydeep sir.
This question is from Arun Kole.
I see no reason why should they. Why should they? If this under this coach they became champion last year, this year they reached the final. They are going to the AFC Cup. So unless there is a fallout between the coach and the management, or the coach thinks something and there is a clash of ideas, then they might. But as far as performance is concerned, I really don't see any reason why should they part with him. Yeah. I think they've done reasonably well.
They've done well.
They have not finished 8th in the league table. Last year they were in the top. This year they are in the second position.
Yeah.
Like Nadal said once, after a lot of criticism, he said that I'm not world number 52nd. I'm world number 5.
Yeah.
Told one of the journalists, please ask me questions like that. It is like that also. I don't think just because you have lost a match, that means that you have to. That's an old idea. I don't agree with that.
True. I mean, why would you want to change it? You've possibly got the most stable team in the league. You've got the most stable team, stable setup. You have the most stable setup in the league. Other teams would want to do what you're doing, the kind of setup you have, that they can have it over a 3-year cycle. That should be the aim of any team, that you have a team that has a setup that runs for 3 years and then you do the refresh and so on. And ATK MB looks set for that. But sometimes when you're playing at that level, so if you're setting yourselves the bar, you're saying, yaar, league bhi nahi jeete, title bhi nahi jeete. Do we want a new direction in the way we are going to play? So do we want to play possession football?
Exactly.
Then it could be the change. Then you could see a change.
If there is a clash of ideas, then it could change.
Yeah.
If there is a clash of ideas, if new ideas has to be brought in, the management thinks there could be change. But otherwise, I don't think just because. And you should also remember he won both the derbies.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He signed him for 10 years. Aney bhai, any more questions? A few more. Because हमने अक्सर लिए नहीं ज़्यादा.
There is ज़्यादा questions. So, मतलब we did talk about most. एक तो I think there is widespread disagreement on your penalty call, guys.
Acha.
Most of the people who are commenting on that penalty decision believe that it was a clear pen, not just that it was a pen, and that if we had VAR, things would be very different. I think this is a development that we will have to keep a close eye on, because given the resources that are going into the Indian Super League, I don't think we are too far away from VAR.
Okay.
Whether we'll be in a normal situation, I think this season might have been a really great opportunity to try and introduce some elements of it, because everything was held in only these 3 grounds. So therefore, the cost of implementing that technology is much lower. If you are going to do it next season, hopefully the coronavirus pandemic will be under control and things will happen on a home and away basis as we are used to seeing them. Then it will make it even harder, and perhaps for clubs it will be more difficult. But we'll see how that goes. Somebody called No One is commenting again and again about our comments or on Habas and how this should be disallowed. How I think we should be banned from commenting on football because we are commenting on Habas. No one, मेरे भाई, ये एक typical आपका troll behavior है. हाँ, पहले तो आप अपना नाम नहीं लिख रहे हैं, बता नहीं रहे हैं आप हैं कौन.
छानबीन हुई है यहाँ पे.
और फिर आप आके बोले जा रहे हैं जयदीप को कुछ ना कुछ. तो आपको अगर नहीं ठीक लग रहा है, आप कहीं और जाके सुनिए अपना फुटबॉल ना. क्यों अपना टाइम बर्बाद कर रहे हैं?
नो भाई, देखिए सर, जिसको आना है आओ, फुटबॉल सुनना है, गाली देना गाली दो, नो प्रॉब्लम भाई. ये खुला स्पेस है,
प्रॉब्लम कोई नहीं है.
ये खुला स्पेस है. जिसको जो नो वन मेरे भाई, नो वन इज हैविंग अ प्रॉब्लम विद व्हाट यू आर चैटिंग. कंटिन्यू दोस्त, वी लव यू and thank you for watching our show.
Okay. I'm also disconnected from the chat, it seems. It says please.
What do you please.
Have you thrown me off or something?
No, there's only one boy who I took off. He was spamming. Unless that was your alias and you were only spamming the chat.
No, it wasn't. Okay. Will Jackie Chan Singh fit into Lobera's plans? Himanshu Borse is asking.
You just got him midway through this season, so he's definitely going to be in the plans for next season. If you bought him midway through this season, he hasn't come as an SOS. He's come in with an eye on the future, saying that, is he going to be my squad player? Is he going to be my playing 11 player? We don't know about that. But he's come midway through the season in January. He's definitely going to be a part of the team next season.
Okay. Interesting question from Mandar J, who says Champions League is going to happen in Goa, so there will be a VAR set up at Fatorda Stadium. Can it be a starting point for the ISL for next year?
I think that's a difficult question, because you need.
Good point he's bringing, though. He's a good point he's bringing up.
It's a good point, but you need too much of resources. See, nobody has bottomless pocket. So, world over, in top leagues, it has been not being used, except in a few places. So you have to see the practicality of it. And your football is not spoiled just because you don't have a VAR. It's not that. If they can afford it, if there is enough money, when it will be up. There are so many other things can be done. Why about VAR only? To improve the game.
Absolutely.
You can have so many other options also.
Yeah, continue with your Indian referees. Continue giving them these games. They will only get better.
Even technically, so much can be improved for which you don't have money. So why VAR के पीछे पड़े रहने से क्या होता है? आपको पेनल्टी नहीं मिला या हैंडबॉल नहीं मिला, इसी पे क्या कोई गेम डिसाइड हो सकता है? लॉन्ग रन कभी नहीं होता है. So ठीक है, अगर होगा तो बहुत अच्छा है, ठीक है. नहीं होगा भी तो इट्स ओके.
इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट है ये जो जयदीप सर बोल रहे हैं, बिकॉज आई थिंक जो फोकस हो गया है ना, वो बहुत ही ज्यादा रिजल्ट पे हो गया है, विनिंग और लूजिंग पे हो गया है. Because each game of football, particularly when it's played in Europe and all these places, has such a massive financial impact, and that these decisions have, far broader ramifications than they do to the game of football. And at our stage, these things should not make a difference at all. And we should concentrate on several of the suggestions that the technical committee, I think, probably gives in each of its meetings. Things that need to be implemented across the board, whether we look at youth football, whether we look at women's football, whether we look at the senior national team and how its development is going. So many inputs, referee training and development and education. Like Japan, for example, in Japan, apparently it's a rule that you play a game at any level, whether it's in your colony, you're playing a 5-a-side game, or you're playing an 11-a-side league match, you have to have a referee. As a result, referees get a chance to practice their trade, to get better and better, to understand match scenarios, match situations, to also get a chance to get to know players, how players react, how players behave, respond to things, how managers behave. And therefore, referees grow and reach a higher standard. So there's a lot that can be done, and money can be spent in multiple different ways. Technology, of course, is the easiest way to probably spend that money.
I feel it's a tournament decision भाई. आपको वार लाना है लाओ, तो आपको पैसे खर्चने पड़ेंगे उसके बारे में. It's a tournament decision. I don't think getting VAR or not getting VAR is a Indian football decision. It's a tournament decision that will be taken by the people that are running the tournament. So that's that. The AIFF has no part to play, I feel, in this. The allocation of funds or whatever the AIFF gets has no part to play in this. It is the people who are running the tournament, and they'll take that decision. If they want it, Lao. If you think it's not worth it, don't bring it. I don't think anything's going to change.
Even Pandit, even in the context of the money that the tournament or like FSDL spends on the ISL, for example, that money can also be utilized in several different ways. Nah? So anyway, yeah, fair enough. Let's not belabor the point. It's not a decision that any of us is going to be asked about. So when they bring it, we'll all know at the same time.
Not a penalty.
What else?
Last few questions, then we can end it. Then.
Yeah, Vinay Dhanda is asking a question about why Yan can't be included in the national team for its progress. I think that's a separate topic. And I think, in fact, with the Ministry of External Affairs' latest notification on the status of overseas citizens of India, OCI card holders, things will change even further. But as of now, I mean, this is not the topic that we are discussing today, because as of now, the way things stand with the government of India, anyone that holds a foreign passport, you cannot hold two passports if you hold an Indian passport. And if you do not hold an Indian passport, you cannot play for India. So that's pretty much the end of it. Why, what, how can that change? Perhaps we can get into a separate conversation at some point, because we've had interest players like Danny Bath, who's and so many others who are playing all over Europe have at different points written in and said that they are interested to see what the debate around players of Indian origin is in India. What is our opinion on the subject? How fans of Indian football discuss it. So we can perhaps do that if we get one of these people of Indian origin. Maybe Roy Krishna can come in for a chat and let us know how these things work.
By the way, off topic, on Instagram, Pedro Manzi is following us. मेरे कान खड़े हो गए, मेरे आंख बड़े हो गए. मैंने कहा यार, Pedro has become a friend. मैंने Pedro भाई को लिखा direct message. Pedro would love to get you on the show, and it was read, but there's no response.
Must be thinking about it. Bhai, chatting with people like you is always dangerous. You never know when it comes and bites you in the bum.
भाई मानसी भाई को कुछ नहीं पता होना कि हिंदी में क्या बोल रहा है ये यहाँ पे. उनको पता ही नहीं चलना. So he won't know कि क्या बकवास हो रही है. I think it's a good time to also tell the viewers to follow us on Instagram at the rate 420 grams with 5 S's.
Okay.
Do give us a follow, man. We're still just on 290. We need to go to 290, please.
Fair enough. We will get there. And I think the next step on the journey to 290 can be a chat about, like Jaydeep was saying, the 27 list. will be out or is out or something like that.
Not yet out. Not yet out.
It's not out yet. Okay.
No.
There's somebody who's saying in the comment section that the list is out. List is out. List is out.
Twitter पे check कर लो. Twitter पे मैं check कर लेता हूँ.
27 list is out. 27 list is out.
Maybe it's come out right now, bhai. Just give me a minute.
It's out.
Because then, एक
If
second.
I'm saying it, then I think it is out. So perhaps we can reconvene at a time that is suitable to you guys tomorrow or the day after, and have that discussion of the final 27 that will be accompanying Igor Stimac and his support staff to the UAE for the camp.
27 member list is out, bhai.
Okay, fair enough.
Do you want me to read it out before we say goodbye? We won't talk about it right now, guys, because we'll do a full show on it.
सबने देख ही दिया होगा. If it's out, पढ़ लेंगे जाके किसी website पे. हम go to newsclick.in. We will publish the list very soon. Please read it.
There is no Sunil as expected, which means that Mr. Pandita is being handed a debut when that first friendly happens.
So Sunil, on account of COVID, I guess cannot travel. So
yeah,
therefore he's out of the squad. Have they brought in a replacement striker? Anyway, we'll get.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't.
Again for 2 more hours. So.
No, they haven't.
Okay. So, India debut for Ishan Pandita. We said it first.
Yeah. His father follows us on Twitter. So, I'm guessing Sir is seen some of our chats. So, if you'd like to come on the show, talk to us about Ishan's journey, because we got in touch with Ishan and there's been no response back, like Pedro. So, if you'd like to come, chat with us, get Ishan on the show, we'd love to have you and just talk about this left field route that you've taken to make it in Indian football, or at least start your journey at the top of Indian football. So, we'd love to entertain you here and irritate you, bore you, poke you with our questions.
All right. So, I think on that count, I think we can call time on this chat. Thank you for so many of you who have joined us. I think we had a steady audience of close to 200 people watching this afternoon. Unlike what Pandit says, the domestic season of Indian football is not over. There's plenty more to come. And before that, we have 2 national team games to look forward to. So check out our social media channels we'll let you know when we will be on next, most likely tomorrow, if not by day after for sure. And then we'll answer all your questions about what we think will be the probable 11 that will start against the UAE and Oman, and how maybe Stimac will play, what we hope to see from those games, and then how we will lead up to the rest of the qualifiers in June when they happen. But until then, thank you very much for tuning in. And thank you guys for your time and your comments and for all the time you've invested in watching the Indian Super League this season. It's been I think on 420 grams, it's been our first season where we've done any length of sort of detailed coverage of the Indian Super League. It's been fun.
Dikh raha hai IS.
It's been fun. So thank you both for that, and matlab baatcheet to jari rahegi, and we will see you all soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.